Hello and welcome to In Stitches. I have a couple of sewing machines on the bench here, as you can see. Both of them are for a local charity shop called the Hospice shop in our local area here. And you can see there that we've got a little Elna Lotus type machine that is a model number type 52. It's got a couple of little issues. I'm hoping that we'll be able to just quickly check it over, make sure it's all working, make some modification. It's got a missing thread guide here, so hopefully I'll be able to sort something out there, even if it's just temporary until I can find other parts for it, just to test the machine. And we have a globe, I would say something like a Cub 7 or something like that. I don't fully service the machines when I do this for the charity shops. I basically just get the machines up and running well enough for them to put them out on the floor and sell them. And then, you know, if the buyer wants them fully serviced later on, they can choose to do so. So we'll start with a little Elna here, and you can see it's got bits of tape holding bits and pieces there. So, but it came with foot controller, Elna foot controller, and it has been electrically certified. The date on that one is 7th of January 25, so a few months ago that was certified. So that's a prerequisite for anything that gets sold, electrical that gets sold. And we've got the little Elna Lotus manual number 1 and manual number 2 there, so that's pretty handy. No other accessories that I can see yet, but we'll have a look and see what we've got here. So we've got a broken part here. It looks like it's either from here or here. I'm hoping it's from here because that's going to help us, I think, with the making up a thread guide, but we'll see. And then others, the others in the inside cover. Okay, so the other bit's in here somewhere with a look at that. And we also have a missing latch here. There's normally a little latch to stop this door from coming down. And so that will just, yeah, causes that to fall down. You know, until I can find a part for this here, which I'm not sure I've got any spare bits for these at the moment. But I'm thinking that we might as well just remove, you can just push the button on this model. There's a little button down here to remove the panels there. So, you know, that could be done for when the person wants to use it for sewing. In the meantime, anyway, at least. Oh, here's the little attachments here. So we have, and here we've got a 1/4 inch foot. That's pretty handy for quilting and piecework. Ah, there's that bit there. Oh, that's easy. That's easily fixed. There's the little latch. Ah, so that's brilliant. Okay. Free motion embroidery / darning foot there. So that might be something to do with this part up here. We'll look at that later. There's the little feed dog cover there, so you put that on to cover the feed dogs when you're using the free motion darning foot there. So that's a little bit like, you know, dropping the feed. If you've got a banana or something, you'll know what I'm talking about, where you can drop the feed dogs down and then you use your embroidery foot. But this just pops over the feed dogs to stop them from feeding. Pretty handy. We've got the standard presser foot. The one that's on there, I think, is probably the buttonhole foot. We've got a little screwdriver. We actually do have the, yes. So I think we've got the parts to fix it. This is the little thread guide that sits up here. So that's handy. Little needle threader. Spare needle, which I wouldn't trust. Yeah, any sort of random needle that I find in a machine I wouldn't necessarily trust. I certainly wouldn't be testing a machine with a random needle like that, because you just don't know what state it's in. Even if you find them in packets, you never know whether someone's used it, damaged it, and put it back in the packet. I would always, buy a brand new pack of needles and always start afresh with a brand new needle. So this one in here, I also wouldn't trust the one that's actually in the machine either. So brand new pack, grab a brand new needle that you know has never been used, and that's it's very important for a starting point for troubleshooting machines. I mean, you don't want to be putting a damaged needle in. You could chase your tail for hours trying to work a problem out which doesn't exist. So I think the first thing will be to try and put together this here with the little thread guide here. So let's get the lid off. For a start, just 4 screws. 4 screws in the top there. And that just lifts off like so. Yeah, might be something to do with this. So that piece is broken off there, and then so that normally would, there's other bits coming off here now, other bits cracking off there now. Just having a look at this, I think everything's here that we need to put this together without too much hassle. So you've got this little part here with this channel in it there, and I think that will sit, the thread guide will sit in the channel somewhere, like something like that there. And then this part, this is like a spring piece here, clamps over the top of it there. And so that can sit in there like that, and then just mount screw goes right through the spring and the little clamp there. If I can, actually I'll just get if I get the nut started there, get that nut started, something like that, tighten this. Close, just need to, there we go. Just need to line those 2 plates up, something like that there. And that pops out as it should and retracts as it should. And we don't really even need this here, but I think it's probably a good idea to glue that in there just for a little bit of strengthening. Like that. I'll glue that in last so that I can just leave it to set, but I think that's pretty much fixed there. And so what we can do is now we can grab the machine and actually put that other latch back in as well to hold the side cover up. So now we can pop the lid on there, and then the fourth screw, it's actually got this little clip here that slides in the side, in the left side there, and the screw goes through the cover and the clip. I wouldn't over tighten those screws, they don't need to be really tight. I've seen these plastic tops crack from being over tightened. That one will leave because this here is actually adjustable. So if we put the covers back on, the front and the rear panels here are identical. I think the easiest way is to pop the side cover on. So it's got a little red dot there, that's to show that that's the outside, so that pops to the outside there. Just literally just slide that down and it clips in, and then we can adjust this little clip here so that it's nice and snug and it's not loose. You know, you can have that too far out and it's not pulling in snugly there, it's got rattly, so you just loosen that, push that in, tighten the screw, and it's nice and snug there now. Okay, and then you can just clip in your front and rear panels. So there's a little, on this end here, this is actually spring loaded, that pushes in that there. So that allows you to position this into the little holder, to the little hinge there, push that in, and then on this side you can locate that into the little hole on this hinge here, and that's nice and tidy there. Same with the rear panel, except the spring-loaded part is on this side here on the rear. So you push it into there, and then locate this end here. And there we go. We're all packed up there nicely, and then to get sewing you just open the front panels like so, open the lid, which is a little bit tight, and then pull the little thread guide down, and we're basically ready to thread up and sew. So let's give the machine a test run. Now, if you're not familiar with these models, they've actually got a lock mechanism on this end here. So you can see we're locked into transport mode there. We can't turn the wheel. That's on 0 there. And then so for sewing, we turn the dial to the stitching icon there, and we can now turn the wheel. And then if we want to wind a bobbin, we pop it over to the bobbin winding mode there. Just like that. So yeah, let's test the bobbin winding for a start. It's normally where I start with a machine. Rightio, so place the bobbin on the winder. These bobbins are a bit different to a standard bobbin, if you like. It's you can tell these older Elna bobbins here, they've got holes on one side but not on the other. That's a telltale sign that these are more than likely for the Elna machines. So we'll just pop that onto the bobbin winder there, and pull up the spool holder there. Come over to our newly installed thread guide and just wind it around the bobbin half a dozen times or so. Okay, got power on there now, and we're in bobbin winding mode here. So I like to just very, very lightly hold my finger here to stop, or either that, or if you wind slow enough, this doesn't rattle around. But if you want to wind just a little bit faster, and see it starts to do this, I just very lightly, you don't want to be holding any pressure on there at all. just very lightly hold your finger there. If you hold too much pressure on there, it'll stretch the bobbin thread as it's winding onto the bobbin. And as you're sewing, as it's coming off the bobbin, it'll contract again and cause puckering and, yeah, tension issues. No automatic stopper on this one, so you just have to keep an eye on it. That's probably enough there. Bobbin done. Oh, that actually, there's a problem. The presser foot was very tight to lift, and it's not springing back down. I can feel that's quite tight. It's starting to free up there now. So that actually needs, the machine actually needs a service. It needs a bit of oil. We can get a bit of oil in there. So we'll just whip that lid back off there. It's very cold too, the machine. They're really quite sensitive, especially these Swiss-made machines that are, extremely well engineered to find tolerances. You'll find in some of the manuals they'll actually state that the machine should be brought up to room temperature, which in this room is not very warm at the moment, but I think they're sort of assuming around 18 degrees Celsius or something like that, 20 degrees. But this has been sitting in the car and it's about 4 degrees outside, so 4 degrees Celsius, so it's not overly tropical. And so we'll just get a bit of oil in there. I'm going to be oiling the presser bar shaft. You can see the top of the presser bar shaft just here, just there. You can see it moving up and down there. Just a little bit of oil in there, and then a little bit of oil on the bottom bearing of the presser bar there. I will need my longer oiler for that one to get right down in there. Yeah, that's feeling better already. And yeah, so I'd say that, by rights it probably could do with a full service, but I'll just give the common parts here an oil. Needle bar, so I'm just oiling the top bearing of the needle bar there, and there's the lower bearing of the needle bar as well. And we'll just make sure the zigzag mechanism is going to zigzag, which it's not, which is a common issue. You can see it's trying. So what can happen is the zigzag, you'll find if you put the width on the full zigzag width and you have the zigzag set to, the pattern stitches set to zigzag, you'll notice that it's not quite coming across to the left far enough. So that's the right hand throw there, and then it's coming to the left hand throw, but it's not actually going right over to the left. I'll just remove this foot here so we can see this a bit better here. So just get you in closer there. You can see the right hand throw of the zigzag there is on the right hand side of the slot. That's fine. Yeah, that's the left hand throw there. So you can see it's not moving much at all. And then so on the left hand throw we can push it across there. You can see now it's just springing back. Now it'll come back on the right hand throw because it's being forced over by the cam, but on the left hand throw it's relying on a spring, and the spring doesn't have enough oomph to overcome the seizing parts. So that's no good. But I can feel a bit of a tight spot. It might actually just be thread. It's always a good idea when you're working with a machine like this to remove the bobbin, because the bobbin tail thread can actually get caught up in the workings. I think that might have been what was causing the jamming there. As you can see, a little tail of thread there. Remove that there. Yep. Yep, that's good there. So to sort the zigzag issue out, if I put the machine onto the left-hand throw, you can see this mechanism here. This is the top of the needle bar carrier, so the needle's at the bottom of this, and that's what does the zigzagging there, this here. And if I put it on the left hand, if I put it on the left hand throw and I just force this over like that, you can feel that that's actually returning. There's the spring return there. That's returning quite nicely. So what can happen sometimes with these, so you can see this here, if I just push it manually, what can happen with these is this, where that shaft goes through here, you can see it just at the end of the tweezers there, that can seize up there, so a little bit of oil there, and there's another side of that hinge on the other back end here. But that's free as anything, so that would indicate to me that it's actually something to do with this. This mechanism here probably just needs a little bit of oil here. And in fact, as the machine's heating up, it's improving. But let's just oil this mechanism here, where it hinges. Yeah, it's there now. It's doing its thing now. So I think more so it was this here rather than this part here. So that is just spring, this spring here is just pushing this shaft here up against the little cam follower here. And so that's as free as anything, but this here wasn't. So that they are actually independent. Well, to a point, you know, like they're not latched together, put it that way. And so as the bulb's warming the machine, it's improving, and just a little bit of oil has sorted that out. So I think, you know, this machine's pretty much ready to go. Bit of oil on the hook there, just on the hook race, and one in the center. I've done videos on servicing these machines. If you go to my channel, you can just search in the channel there for you know, Elna Lotus service or something like that. Now it's not zigzagging. It's not zigzagging at all now. Something else is seized up here. I can see the part that's actually being stubborn. It's not this here. It's actually this, that there. If I pull that up and then push it down, I think it's this shaft here seizing. Okay, after working this here for a bit, it's freed up. So there we should. Yeah. Yep, working perfectly there now. If we put the plate back on, we'll be able to see it. Yep, sorted. Let's just replace that needle. Get a brand new needle in there. So flat, on these ones the flat goes to the back on this model. Okay, we come across to our newly installed thread guide there. That tension's not right. Around the tensioner, over the take-up lever, down through that guide, and then just straight through the needle eye there. And then we'll draw up the bobbin thread, just turn the machine in operating direction for 1 revolution. That, pull the thread, it's trapped in there. Okay, let's see how we go here. That's looking good. Let's have a close look. Yep, that's looking pretty good. So zigzagging to its full width there now, so that's all good. So yeah, that's all sorted there now. So this is ready to give back to the hospice shop and ready for them to put on the floor for sale now. So I'll pack it all up and give it back to them. I was going to look at the globe. I think I'll leave that for another video. This one's been a little bit longer than I expected it to be. So I'd like to give a big shout out to Lynette, my latest Patreon supporter. So thank you very much, Lynette. Looks like you might have a tuxedo cat, and that's a thumbs up for me. And of course, a big thank you to my existing Patreon supporters. Your support is greatly appreciated and it allows me to carry on making these videos. To those out there on YouTube, thank you very much for watching. We'll catch you in the next one.